Down in Connecticut right now is serious, right? But we brought the big guns out for you. Right now, the next speaker's name is John Miano. He wrote this book called Sold Out. If you want to understand what's going on, you gotta buy this book. This is the one.
Hey guys! I don't think I need the mic, do I? Do I need?
Yeah.
Do I need?
Yeah,
I need
for
the mic.
recording.
Where's the mic? I gotta speak into the mic. Hello? It's on? You hear it?
Yeah. Yes.
Okay. I was told that I'm supposed to give you a step-by-step introduction to Title 8 of the U.S. Codes, all of through the 3-hour lecture. We'll take a break at 1.5 hours into it. No, we won't do that. But what I'm going to try to do is make you mad. I'm hoping that you'll be furious. I mean, you must be mad to be here to begin with, right? I mean, yeah! I'm hoping you're going to be really mad by the time you get out of here. I've been at this now for several decades. You know, this has been a long-term fight. It may even be a generational fight. And quite honestly, at this point, our government is so disconnected from the needs of the American people. I don't know why the revolution hasn't happened already. I mean, it's just puzzling to me that Americans haven't stood up. If you look over what's going on in France, you know, the French government messes with their French people, those yellow vests are out. Where are the American yellow vests? You know, we just don't see them. The closest we've come is the election of President Trump, which is, you know, in some ways is a little bit of a revolt. But the bad news I have for you is that the swamp has pretty much taken over the Trump administration. That, you know, Trump ran and he was going to do something about all this H-1B stuff. Nothing's happening in the administration. Nothing's moving yet. The swamp has taken over. The good news, though, that's the half-empty version. The half-full version is that it looks like not much is going to happen. We've had 4 disaster presidents in a row who just screwed over the American people. 2 Bushes, a Clinton, and an Obama, who really just ran roughshod over Americans. At least with Trump, it appears that things just aren't going to change. Okay.
So what do we do about it?
What do we do about it? Raise hell, get him to get his attention. You know that. The problem, I think that Trump himself is on board with what we want. Trump's fatal flaw has been that he's appointed very bad people and surrounded himself with very bad people. You look around in his administration, we're the guys who got him elected. You know, the stuff, you know, that people putting America first, where are those people in the administration? You don't see them. They've all been pushed aside or pushed down. So one of the things I want to get to is, you know, what makes the governor, does the governor wake up in the morning and say, gosh, I'm going to spend $14 million to send jobs to India? You know, it doesn't really happen that way. What goes on is, you know, on this type of thing, there's always, you're going to find, there's lobbying behind the scenes. You know, there's companies, they hire lobbyists, and, you know, you pay a few $100,000 for a lobbyist, and you get $14 million from the state. It's a pretty big investment. You know, I'll show we have one example of the lobbying effort. You know, it goes to government, it goes to the media. Here we have a plant story from your local media, you know, describing the one person they hired from New York who's coming in. And, you know, so what they'll do is they'll package the story, give it to the newspaper, and the reporter doesn't have to do anything. Just copy down what the lobbyists have thrown to them. Complete with that, I'm from a hate group, racist hate group. But there. now. Oh gosh, I forgot my clan road. Wow. Okay. But and you know what they did? What they didn't do here? They didn't. You know, they talked about we've hired this person. They didn't talk about the jobs getting moved to India. At it now, because the business model of Infosys is to move jobs to India. They put people in the United States are here to support the jobs of India. My previous employer had wiped out all the American programmers and replaced them using Infosys and one other company. And so they had one person from Infosys on site for every 6 jobs they moved overseas. So, you know, Infosys, even if, as Craig was saying here, even if Infosys hires 1,000 US citizens, even if they're native born, not even immigrants, 1,000 US citizens in this job thing, they're still going to be sending thousands more jobs overseas. So it's net job disruption, whether you like it or not, even those thousands of jobs. We see the same lobbying thing going on with the H-1B program. Infosys primarily has used the H-1B program to bring in foreign workers. This is the primary mechanism, I should say it's the primary, but it's the best known mechanism that's used to replace Americans. And the industry lobbyists do the same things like here is the plant story. So the plant story has here that this is a high-tech company. We're dealt with Infosys, you know how confident they are, but really, it's a high-tech company that they're creating jobs. But with the H-1B program, what they do is they describe this as a program for highly skilled workers who are coming to fill jobs that Americans can't fill, which is total federal requirement. If you go search through what Congress has enacted, there's no requirement whatsoever that these workers be high skilled. In fact, we know from the data that nearly all of them are low skilled. H-1B workers represent the bottom of the barrel in skill. There's no requirement whatsoever that the company show that Americans aren't done first. They just bring in the H-1B workers. The reality here, this is the thing you really got to understand, the purpose of the H-1B program is to replace Americans with cheap foreign workers. That should be the first thing. When you hear H-1B, that's what you should be saying. That's what Congress has enacted. It is explicitly legal to replace Americans with H-1B workers. Explicitly. Congress did backflips to make it legal to replace Americans. I mean, can you think of what kind of people we're sending to Washington when they would go and pass legislation that allows replacing Americans with foreign workers? That is what we're sending to Washington these days.
Criminals. They're criminals.
It's really bad news what's going on in Washington. And that got virtually no coverage. I don't think it got any coverage in the mainstream media, okay, that this is happening. Congress passed legislation in 2004 allowing H-1B workers to be paid the bottom third of U.S. wages. So in the preparation for this, someone sent a link to wage data for H-1B workers in Connecticut for various occupations. I don't know who sent that out. And I looked up, then went to the Bureau of Labor Statistics data, and for every computer occupation listed, the average H-1B wage was about $20,000 a year less than the average American wage. Okay? So I mean, it's a cheap labor program. And you know, sadly, when Donald Trump puts out his little tweets that something that we got to have a path to citizenship for these people, that he's obviously vetted from some industry lobbyists. What he's saying is, I support replacing Americans with foreign workers. So you can't have both ways. You can't let the politicians have both ways. What they want to say is, oh, we're going to fix the problem. The H-1B program cannot be fixed because it's doing what it's supposed to be doing. When Disney, and I used the Disney example rather than the local, because Disney one got a lot more publicity. Sorry, Greg, but, okay. Disney, when Disney replaced 250 Americans with H-1B workers, you know, that was legal. There was a lawsuit. It was perfectly legal. Okay, so you can't say what happened to Disney is abuse. And if you say it's abuse, if you're following the trap of lobbyists who are going to say, oh, well, we just need to tweak little things. and then everything is all right. Wrong, folks. Technically, we'll give you a little description. The technical description is that H-1B is for specialty occupations, which means anything with a college degree. So all it takes to qualify is a mail-order college degree from India, and you're in. One of the problems that we have is that H-1B has become just the tip of the iceberg. We have L visas, we have J visas, and the industry has opened a second front of assault on Americans, and that is through regulation. You know, you would think that Congress has to approve visas and whatever, but starting at the end of the Bush administration, when George Bush was screwing America, they started using regulation to create guest worker programs without the approval of Congress at all. And then during the Obama administration, when he ratcheted up screwing up America, they were doing even more of these programs through regulation. And in fact, we actually have more foreign workers entering the labor force through regulation, and I mean by regulations that have not been authorized by Congress, than we actually have people through statutes that have been enacted by Congress. And so that gives behind-the-scenes lobbying taking place with unelected bureaucrats. And so, you know, like at the end of the Bush administration, you have all these bureaucrats who are going to soon lose their jobs. They're looking for their lives. They're looking for their jobs in the industry, lobbying jobs. You know, they're going to be out there doing whatever they can to secure their post-administration jobs. So one of the things I was asked to bring this to end is what can you do? Okay? And the first thing I'm going to start is the general things you can do. And first one is get organized. Programmers, tech workers are woefully unorganized. And it's just shocking to me how this can go on and programmers can let this happen. You know, I can tell you, this doesn't happen with lawyers. Lawyers, we have committees on the unauthorized practice of law to keep people out, keep people from encroaching on our turf. Just a little bit. While you got guys, peons, are allowing these foreign workers to come in and really haven't raised much of an issue about it. Another one you got to do is stay informed. I got to say this is a tough one. The American media does not cover this for a large part. I could go again and use the example of Disney. Okay? When Disney replaced the 250 Americans, didn't make a lot of this. That gentleman over there reported on it in Computer World over and over again. And it wasn't until about 6 months later that the New York Times ran an article on it. And to give you even the worst part about this, there was actually a story in the local Orlando paper on Disney replacing the Americans with foreign workers. Well, actually it wasn't. They reported that there were layoffs at Disney. They conveniently left out the part that Americans were being replaced by foreign workers, because that's politically incorrect, right? They don't tell that. So this is actually staying informed is linked to get organized, because the way, through organizations like this, you share information. And so if something occurs in an obscure location, then it gets shared around so people can understand it. Like I said, you're obviously not going to worry about this kind of stuff in this newspaper. Trust me there. Another one is you got to vote the issue. You know, you got to hold these politicians accountable. You got to say, if you support replacing Americans with foreign workers, I'm going to vote you out. Okay? That ought to be a hair trigger. If you do it, you're out of here. You know, like your governor here. People make mistakes. And the governor here made a big mistake. He didn't vet this out properly. Okay. But now he does. Okay. And so you got to see how he's going to react to this. Is he going to say, this is a bad idea? Or is he going to say, double down on it and persist in this direction?
Make him accountable. Make him accountable.
He's got it. Yeah. And so if he's going to persist in this, using taxpayer funds to send jobs overseas, you got to say this guy's a quisling, okay, and get him out of here. He needs to go.
Right.
Okay? Bottom line. The other thing you do is buy the issue. You know, hold the companies accountable. Disney, for example, that's a good one. You know, like the Disney money. The Star Wars movies have sucked since the Empire. Why go to another crappy Star Wars movie and get money with Disney? You know? Yeah, the Marvel movies, they're all the same, you know? I've seen a few of them now, each one's the same, so there's no point in going there. And, you know, if you look at the Magic Kingdom, you see the prices they charge? You know, you could take your kids or grandkids to the Smithsonian, they can actually learn something, and it's free. So, you know, buy the issue, you know? Unsubscribe to the, Hartford Current, you know? Obviously not, you know, the Hartford's obviously rag. You know, this isn't even worthy of cat box land. my cats deserve better things to poop on than this. You know? That's good. And so, coming down to the final thing to keep from boring you, I was asked this, like, what happens if they're going to give you the H-1 boot? And which is happening all over the place. The CIO calls everyone to a big meeting, and you know, it announces that you're all being replaced by foreign workers. What should you do? Now, you could do a mass rush, an L400 of you just beat the guy to a pulp, and there's so many of them they can't prosecute. But I won't tell you to do that. But you know, I always wondered what would happen if that doesn't. But the first thing you got to do, have some backbone. Okay? You got to stand up. And one of the things I'll point out in standing up, you got to say what you're for, you know, or even against. But what is your position? I'm against replacing Americans with foreign workers. I'm promoting Americans in jobs. If you're sitting there arguing, you know, responding like, you know, trying to defend why you're a racist hate group, or why you're not anti-immigrant, or why you're, you know, something like this you've already lost the debate. You know, what I just say, you know, I'm against replacing Americans with foreign workers. Okay, if some organization that takes millions of dollars from the tech industry wants to call me a racist for that, you know, I can still sleep well tonight.
That's just undertaking.
Yeah, it's a stand. You know, it's every. You know, hopefully I'm for all you folks. You know, and it doesn't matter what your background is. You know, my community is the United States of America, which encompasses people all different backgrounds. You know, I view you as my extended. Well, very extended family. It's not an invitation to come to my house for dinner, okay? But I view you as my constituents. You're the people I want to put first. Next thing is you got to get organized. See, it's organized twice here. Immediately, you guys got if one of these ads left, you got to start getting names, exchanging names. Get everyone's name down. Save an email address, contact information. Keep records of who's who, so that once you split to the winds, you can reunite in some way, fight back. Get a lawyer. Or I'm going to do a soliciting business here for the profession. But you're going to need a lawyer, and it's easier to get a lawyer if you have a lot of people. So, like, if you go, it's just pure math. So, if one person files a discrimination lawsuit over something like this, and happens to be successful, let's say you get 1 year's back pay, just half. Let's say 1 year, and the lawyer gets 1/3, and that's 1/3 of, let's say generously $100,000, it's $30,000. If you have 1,000 of you, okay, doing that, you multiply that by 1,000, and it's the same amount of work for the lawyer, effectively. So there's much better lawsuit potential with large numbers. Form a union. Guys, there's nothing your employer would love more than having a union poking around. You know, call up the AFL-CIO and tell them you got this problem and you're interested in union. You know, that's the real way to strike back. Gather intelligence, another thing. You know, these companies are going to make nasty comments, you're really going to hear it. Start writing it down, take notes of exactly who said what, when, save emails, everything you can, the dirt that you see happening. Publicity. You gotta get the word out. Okay, this is one of the big problems we have. This is going on all the time, and we talk about Disney all the time. Okay, the reason we talk about Disney is because Disney got in the news. It's Toys R Us, New York Life. This is going on all the time, okay, in various companies, and we don't hear about it. Or I might hear about it. Or I should say, I might hear about it, and even if I might hear about it, it's extremely rare that the public will hear about it, or you will hear about it. You gotta get publicity out there. And the last suggestion I'm going to give is don't dig your own grave. Okay. I know this is tough. Companies are going to dangle a severance package out there, but I've actually never taken a severance package. I always say this to you guys, and just did, and so I didn't have any ties to the company. But even if you do go through the motions, you don't have to. You don't tell. What they'll do is they'll bring people in, and you're supposed to train them. Okay, you're supposed to tell them what they're. You don't have to tell them everything. You know, leave stuff out. Out there. But the best. You don't have to tell. They can. Let them figure it out for themselves. But what would really be great, and what would put an end to this outsourcing together. Imagine a big company. What's a big, like Aetna, for example, and I'm sure Aetna does outsourcing here, but imagine like the CIO of Aetna goes up, again I'm just using Aetna as illustrative purposes, imagine the CIO of Aetna comes out and says, we're placing you all 4 workers and you've got to train them. What if all programmers just said, fine, we're just going home today, we're finished. That company would be dead. And if that happened just once, this whole offshoring thing would come to an end. Okay, I'm finished.